Good morning. On behalf of United Way of the National Capital Area and the entire staff, welcome to Project Community Connect. I'm Stephanie Crane, Director of Community Impact and Engagement. United Way of the National Capital Area expanded its annual Project Homeless Connect in response to the COVID-19 pandemic and to align with its strategic programmatic direction focused on achieving equity for all of our community members, regardless of race, gender, income, and ability. We're excited to work with our community partners and other organizations on PCC's mission to build community, shift mindsets through personal experience and connection, and provide critical resources at no cost to individuals and families in Washington, D.C., and surrounding counties in Maryland and Northern Virginia. In this time of COVID, there is no segment of society that has not been touched by this public health crisis, particularly those households who are struggling to afford the basic household necessities, which include childcare, housing, food, transportation, healthcare, and even a basic smartphone plan. In these unprecedented times, it is imperative that your United Way provide innovative ways to reach workers and their families throughout the DMV. Today, I'm joined by Marjorie Leon from Virginia Cooperative Extension, Prince William Unit, to bring you Preparing to Buy a House, where we're going to discuss the tools you need to learn on how to prepare to buy a home. We'll cover topics such as why credit matters, the importance of credit, and how to work with a lender. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in the comment and/or QA sections, and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. It is a pleasure to be here with you today and to bring you this much needed workshop. And with that, please help me welcome Marjorie Leon, Virginia Cooperative Extension Unit, who is HUD Certified, an accredited financial counselor, and has over 30 years of housing counseling and financial education experience. Thank you, Marjorie. It is a pleasure to have you here with me today.
Thank you, Stephanie. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here to share some of this very critical information and preparing you to buy a home. This is so important to have this information and to be able to empower you to take the right steps in a very most important purchase of your life. So this is hopefully the information can go ahead and provide you those tools necessary for you to take that step. Next slide. The topics we're going to talk about are preparing to purchase a house, the importance of a spending plan, and why credit matters. Next slide. The benefits and challenges of homeownership. Let me go through the financial benefits first, and as that is the positive aspect of homeownership, and it allows you to create wealth. Creating wealth is basically where you purchase a home, and the home is appreciating and it's creating that wealth that you can take with you when you sell the property. It creates tax savings, and tax savings are where you are able to take the interest that you are paying on a monthly basis as part of your monthly payment, and deduct that from your taxes. So that provides you a tax savings. It provides you a stable housing cost, which means that basically your payment is going to be the same throughout the time. And it improves your credit. Of course, you are going to, as you pay your payments on time and as you are you purchase this home, then it's going to improve your credit standing, and it creates pride of homeownership. Pride of homeownership is where you are part of a community. You're basically growing in that community, and it creates a pride of ownership. Some of the challenges that come with homeownership are higher housing cost, which means that basically you are absorbing some of the emergency costs, such as repairs and different things. So that can create a higher housing cost in that sense. You're not able to move in terms of basically, like when you were a tenant, you were able to give a 30-day notice and you can move fairly quickly. Well, you are a homeowner now, and therefore it decreases your mobility where you are having to make plans to sell this home. You are responsible for all the repairs. The repairs are basically, as a homeowner, you are to repair whatever goes wrong in the property. As a tenant, you would call the landlord, and the landlord would come in and fix the repairs. As a tenant, you are responsible for those repairs. And the potential of foreclosure, which means that if you miss payments, the bank can potentially come and foreclose on the property. But the important things to remember in that aspect is that if you become educated and you are well informed consumer, you definitely can potentially avoid those that pitfall of foreclosure. Next slide. As a Virginia Cooperative Extension is a HUD approved housing counseling agency. And what that means is that we follow HUD protocols and guidelines that when we are teaching first time home buyers and when we are counseling first time home buyers. One of the things that you can do with our agency, and our contact information will be at the end, is you can set up an appointment, and we can do a one-on-one session with you that takes you through the different processes and understanding of what it entails to purchase a home. One of those areas is the comfort level. What is the comfort level? The comfort level is where you go and you meet with a lender, and the lender says, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, you are qualified to purchase a $300,000 home. Does that mean that you have to go to the level of 300,000 to purchase a home? Maybe not. Maybe your comfort level is at 275 or 250, and that's perfectly okay because that's going to provide you that level of comfort that is where you feel the most comfortable, and it's going to give you an appropriate fit for your spending plan. And your spending plan is your monthly budget. Lenders don't include your obligations or lifestyle. That means that your debts, the way you live, the way you entertain, is not included in that. So therefore, that comfort level needs to take that into account when you're considering your monthly payment. You're also going to be reviewing your debt's income and credit as you move through becoming a homeowner. The lenders look at the debt and the income ratios. For instance, the debt and income ratios on an FHA loan, the front end ratio, which is your housing ratio, is 31%. The back end ratio can be as high as 42%, which means how much debt you can carry. You may need to reduce the debt depending on how much debt you are carrying, because some of the times that can impact how much you are able to qualify for. And also, by reducing debt, you can also increase your credit score, which is very important when looking for those options in mortgages. Next slide. Creating a spending plan or creating a plan is extremely important because it gives you a guide and a roadmap. One of the things that you want to do is to clarify your values, your needs versus your want. Do I need it or do I want it? You set goals. You want to set a goal, whether it's a savings goal or a paying down debt goal, depending on what it is that you are trying to achieve. You decide what it is that you want to work on. You're going to implement that plan because implementation is key. You want to be able to set the goal and implement because that's going to give you the results that you're looking for. You're going to control those factors by making sure that you're staying on target. You're going to evaluate if it needs to be evaluated, where it needs to be lowered or it needs to be increased. You're going to control that by evaluating it. You're going to monitor, you're going to review, and you're going to revise. So therefore, this is a living, breathing document that is going to be in place for you to adjust as you need and when you are required to do so. Next slide. What is the importance of credit? The importance of credit has to do with the mortgage programs have a minimum credit score. And that is, I'm referring to FHA loans or conventional loans or any other type of loan that is out in the mortgage industry. Interest rates are determined by your credit scores. So the higher your credit score, the better options you are going to be able to obtain. Information on your credit report can adversely affect your mortgage options, which means that if you have the wrong information or you don't have the information that is not appropriate, it's going to impact your credit score and it's going to impact the options that you have. But because the erroneous information on your credit report does affect your credit score, and therefore it needs to be corrected, and it's something that you want to monitor and you want to work on. Next slide. These are the 5 factors that determine your credit score. The big one is making your payments on time. That is the largest one of it all, and that is about a 35% of the pie chart. And you can see it is the biggest slice of it all, followed by how much debt do you owe? And that is determined, the two highest one is how much the payment history, if you're paying your debts on time. The second one being how much money you owe. The third one being the length of credit history that you've had. How long have you had these trade lines? How long have you had these credit cards? All of that influences by a portion of 15%. The next two are the lowest, which is 10% apiece. And the first one is the new credit. New credit lines, new trade lines, things that you are adding to your credit by creating more credit lines. And of course, the type in the mix of credit that you have. So it is wise to go ahead and not just have a variety of credit lines like a car payment, a credit card. That will give you a variety and that will give you a mix that the lenders are looking for. And of course, once again, I can't say this enough, making your payments on time. 35% of that pie chart is paying your payments on time. Next slide. The free annual credit report is where you can go and obtain 3 credit reports a year from each of the credit bureaus. And the credit bureaus are TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. The FACTA, or the Fair Accurate Credit Transaction Act, allows you to obtain these free credit reports. You can receive all 3, or you can ask for one every 3 months or every 4 months, depending on what you would like to do. You like how you're monitoring your information on your credit report. Very important to remember this website is www.annualcreditreport.com. It is where you go and get your free credit report. Very, very important to remember that. It's not freecreditreport.com. It is www.annualcreditreport.com. And if you come to our agency, Virginia Cooperative Extension, and you meet with one of our counselors one-on-one, part of the process that we do is we pull your credit report, and it does provide you a credit score. The annualcreditreport.com does not provide you the scores, but we do if you come and work with us one-on-one. It's very, very important to monitor your credit because, as I said earlier, it is one of the most important tools that the lender will use to evaluate your credit worthiness and what options in mortgage options you have in terms of securing a loan for your future home. It's extremely important to monitor this information. I can't say it enough. Next slide. This is our information, our contact information. We are Virginia Cooperative Extension, and we do offer one-on-one housing counseling, and we also offer financial literacy classes. All of this information, you can find this on our website at www.pwcva.gov/money. We do have a calendar, and you can select the classes, the financial literacy classes that you would like to take. They are all free of cost. There is no charge for our counseling either. You can meet with any of our counselors as you desire. Just give us a call at 703-792-6287, or you can email us at smartmoney@pwcgov.org, or follow us on Twitter and on Facebook at facebook.com/VCE Thank you very much for listening, and I am available for questions now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marjorie, for that very informative presentation and for walking us through. We definitely have a couple of questions. And a question I would love to just kind of ask you is, what does it mean to be HUD certified? What does that mean? And why is that an important quality to have when you are going through this process?
Thank you, Stephanie. What HUD certified means is that the counselor has taken a test that's administered by HUD, and HUD, which is the Housing and Urban Development Agency from the federal government, has administered a test to the counselor, and they've passed the test and they have become HUD certified, which is basically a set of standards that they have to follow, and they've been trained and they have been vetted by HUD in order to be able to provide that one-on-one counseling. So it is extremely important to be HUD certified. You cannot do in our agency and in other agencies that are HUD approved, you cannot do one-on-one counseling unless you are HUD certified, which means that you have been tested and approved by HUD to provide the one-on-one counseling.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Marjorie. That's
You're
really
welcome.
helpful. Another question is if there's an error on a credit report, what does someone do? What are the steps they would need to take in order to address that? Is that something that your team would work with them on, or are there steps that they can take if they do find after they've had a credit report error? What are they supposed to do next?
Sure. They can follow a dispute with any other credit, depending on the credit bureau that they are finding that information on. The credit bureau has a form, they can complete it and they send it in. The credit bureau has 30 days to respond to the dispute as to what they're going to do, or if they need more information from the consumer, and then they will go. The steps will be initiated to rectify the error.
Okay, great.
Sure.
Um, so also, I guess the next question would be, how do you improve your credit score? If maybe it's not an error, but you're not quite where you need to be for the rate that you need from a lender. What are the steps someone could take to help improve their credit score?
Okay, so one of the first steps that you have to look at and see what is affecting my credit score. It could be past collections, it could be judgments or liens, it could be maybe a not making the payments on time. Depending on what the area that needs improvement to improve the credit score, then you would need to focus on that and work on it. If it is something to do with collections, then then you need to identify the collection agency. Try to see if you can communicate. Once it depends on who holds that collection, and then you can just kind of work through and get that taken care of. Once those collections are paid, then your credit score will slowly improve because you're removing that negative reporting information.
Excellent. Another question is, how has COVID-19, the pandemic, impacted buying a house? Has there been any sort of changes in the housing market or things we should be aware of as we're trying to buy a house, given what's happened with COVID-19?
COVID-19 in our particular area, in the Northern Virginia area, has not really, it has, the market has been what they refer to as a seller's market, which means that the homes that come on the market are sold quickly. Um, I have not seen a direct relation between COVID-19 and the available inventory of homes. What's available on the market goes quickly, and there has been an appreciation, which means that homes have appreciated, and in some cases, you know, the general consumers are having a hard time trying to find affordable housing because of the appreciation during this time. So it's kind of like a sort of a reverse effect here, but it is coming down. The market has kind of settled down a little bit, where now it's there's a strong possibility that people are finding a little bit more inventory, and it has settled down a little bit.
That's really helpful. Thank you so much,
You're
Marjorie.
welcome.
So another question is, how do you find a lender if you are kind of in the place where you're ready to start this process? How do you know sort of who to go to as a lender?
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things that we recommend if you are going to be a first time home buyer is to educate yourself. We at Cooperative Extension offer first time homebuyer seminars, which is a 1 day class that takes you through the entire process from beginning to end of what it is to purchase a home. To find one of the segments in the class is working with a lender, and we do have industry experts that come in as part of the class to talk about all the process or what it entails to work with a lender. You can contact our office. We can go ahead and give you the schedule for the classes that are coming up that are available, or you can certainly work with a one-on-one counselor that can provide you a list of lenders. We don't recommend specific ones. We do have a list that you can select from, but most importantly, I would recommend that you take the first-time homebuyer class because that will give you an overview of the process, and the industry expert can come in and you can get an idea in a very neutral setting, educational setting, without any pressure of have the lender try to sell you products and different things that you're not really prepared to make decisions on. So education is important.
Thank you so much, Marjorie.
You're welcome.
The next question is, how long is the average home buying process? I guess from start to finish, maybe like how long does it take when you think you're ready to buy to get all the way to closing? Does it vary? What does that kind of look like?
It varies, and what happens is, Stephanie, is that it depends on how quickly the consumer can find a home, how quickly things can move along. I mean, that is the biggest part of the time that takes a lot of time, is identifying a home. Once they identify the home, the process can move very fairly quickly. Within 2 months, or within 6 to 8 weeks, you can probably take it from contract, what they refer to a ratified contract, which is basically everybody has agreed to the terms of the sale of the property, to the end, to the closing area. So it depends on how quickly you can find a home. And then from that point forward, you can plan on maybe 6 weeks after that for all the process to go through.
Okay, that's great. That's really helpful.
Sure.
Another question is, how does a first-time home buyer avoid scams? I know in this, in sort of our COVID world, there's been kind of an increase in online scams and scams over the phone and things like that. And as a first-time home buyer, are there any particular things that someone can do to make sure they're avoiding any scams, or are there any maybe scams that you've heard for first-time home buyers that they should be on the lookout to avoid?
Right, right. I mean, this is very important. Education is key. If it sounds too good, it's probably not good. It's something that the education and preparation to become a first-time homeowner can kind of help you with identifying some of these scams. Some of the things that if you are proposed, things that are not sounding too good in terms of, let's have you move in the house. We'll give you 2 years to get a loan. Those kind of things, those are contract for deeds, and that is outside of the area that I would recommend that a first-time home buyer would get into. I'd strongly recommend that they go through the first time homebuyer seminar, because that will take you through some of the specific areas that you need to be aware of, and it's so important for them to become educated, because it is key. It's the biggest purchase of their life, and it's worth the investment of time in education.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Um, I have another question coming in. Hang on one second.
sure.
So can you tell us about the home inspection process when you're a first-time home buyer? And it seems like many people are kind of foregoing this right now with the housing market. And is that something we should or shouldn't do? And do you have any recommendations on that? And maybe that's something that's covered in the class, but would just love to hear
Sure.
more.
I'll speak to it for a little bit. I mean, the home inspection is key. It's basically a home inspector is somebody that comes in. They don't poke holes on the walls or, dig anything. It's just a very in-depth visual inspection, and it gives you the condition of the property. It is extremely important to have that, especially, for a first-time home buyer. You want to know the life expectancy of the refrigerator. You want to know how the roof condition is. It gives you an idea um, what the house will need, 5 years on the road, or maybe within 30 days, or, you know, an immediate time. But it is important to have a home inspection. Um, are people foregoing of the home inspection in this? No, they're not. It's a 50-50. So it depends. Maybe a couple months ago, I would say people are not doing home inspections, but now that the market is settling down a little bit, that I'm seeing inspections coming back in, And basically, what an inspection does, it provides you, like I said, the condition of the property. And it's for a first time home buyer. It's important to know that. It's important to, this will help you kind of forecast a little bit as to what the future repairs may be, or you may be a point of negotiation to the seller of the property. Can you address some of these issues? And that would be something that the realtor that's representing the buyer would address with the seller of the property and see where they can go to. Because again, first time home buyers are going to have to get used to that process in being a homeowner, and you want to go in with knowledge of what you're getting.
Thank you so much, Marjorie. We have, I think, another question that just came in. What is the difference between a lender and a realtor?
A lender is someone that it's someone that lends you money, that basically takes an application, approves you for the loan to purchase the home. A realtor is a basically representing either the buyer or the seller in that transaction, and they help you find homes, the home that you're going to be buying. And basically that's they write the contract, they represent the buyer if that's what the relationship that they establish, and they find the inventory for you to choose the home from. Lender provides the funds, the realtor provides the home or the choice of homes that you can purchase.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm not sure if we have any other questions at the moment. Just wanted to give it another second. But Marjorie, this
Okay.
is so helpful, and thank you so much. And we'll make sure that, again, your contact information is on that last slide. So if anybody does have any additional questions after the broadcast and after the presentation, that they know how to reach you and your team. And
Yes.
we're just so grateful for your time.
Well, thank you everyone for your questions, and thank you for the opportunity to be here, share this information with everyone.
Yeah, and Marjorie, thank you again. It's been a pleasure to have you here with me today. And partnerships such as the one with Virginia Cooperative Extension, Prince William Union, are critical to moving the work forward and ensuring that your United Way can meet the needs of the community, and that together we can provide the best and most needed resources for the region. So I want to thank everyone for attending today's workshop. To learn more about what United Way is doing to mobilize and make bold strides until we achieve equity for all our community members, regardless of race, gender, income, and ability, please visit unitedwaynca.org/PCC. Again, that's unitedwaynca.org/PCC. Again, thank you so much for joining us, Marjorie. Thank you so much for this wonderful and informative presentation. And again, if folks have, any more questions, please, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll stay on for a bit longer, and then we'll sign off, but we'll have all the information available to you, and we can follow up if you send any questions after the broadcast. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.